Hello, welcome to a new video. In today's video we're gonna take a look at my Shundo Roserade, which I got from my girlfriend from a trade. And we're gonna take a look at this Pokemon in the Open Master League. And why are we gonna do this? A, because I kinda want to have some fun, and honestly, Open Master League, recently when I did a little bit more fun videos, they also went out a little bit better, and I do kinda like this kind of stuff as well. A lot of people don't really have the resource to play Open Master League. The people that have resources to play Open Master League mainly have like a set team already. So here we're going to take a look at some more fun stuff. We're going to have a Roserade which has the potential of beating Fairy-type Pokemon. But not only this, it's also going to have the potential of beating Rhyperior. And what we're going to see here as well today is that I'm changing the moveset on both of my Pokemon in the back quite a bit. Here for example we have Magical Leaf. I have some battles with Magical Leaf, I have some battles with Poison Jab. On the Kyurem, I have some battles with the Dragon Breath, like here I have some battles with the fast move of Steel Wing as well. Both of those changes have some benefits and some negative sides of it. For example, if you run Poison Jab on the Roserade, you're going to have more struggles against Rhyperior. If you run the Steel Wing on the Kyurem, you're going to be better against Fairy-type Pokemon, but struggle against something like a Ho-Oh or other Dragon-type Pokemon. But yeah, Poison Jab of course going to help you out with Fairy-type Pokemon as well, and gives you the option to fully farm down Pokemon like Tapu Bulu, Zacian or Xerneas, and so that has some potential, but here we're going to be able to win the battle. I think the next battle is going to be my favorite of them all. Let's take a look at this one. We're going to see Rhyperior mirror matchup. The opponent going to have a Shundo here, and we have one with 14 attack, which is not ideal, but they decide to swap out into the Primarina. We can still go for that breaking swipe to not even drop the defense of the opponent here, or like the attack of the opponent, not the defense, which is kind of annoying, but it's going to be okay. We're going to still be able to go for a Sludge Bomb, but this will allow us to get the knockout against the opponent's Primarina, and let's see what they're going to swap into. They are swapping into their own Rhyperior again, allowing us to go for some super effective magical leaves against the opponent, which is gonna be amazing. Again, as I said before, there is going to be some change on the moveset on the right side, but as you can see in the back, there is going to be Tapu Bulu waiting for us. This Pokemon is going to be great for us as well, as we're going to be able to one-shot it with a Sludge Bomb, but you have to catch a move here on to our Rhyperior in order to kind of do anything here, because the opponent actually goes for the Grass, which is even better for me, allowing us to now go ahead and go for the Sludge Bomb again, and we are going to be able to get a triple kill with the Roserade here against the opponent, destroying an entire Master League team, which is ridiculous. So, you might already see at this point where this video kind of gonna go. Did this team work out for me? I am always honest with this kind of stuff. It is tough. It is tough. It is not going to be a team that you're going to get your like consistent positive results. This is not something that you should expect. We play two very much off-meta Pokemon. Kyurem actually is rank 10 on PV Poke for the Open Master League, but I can highly, like, I definitely can say about this Pokemon, it is not supposed to be at rank 10. I would recommend like a lower rating for this Pokemon. I know why it got the rating that it has. It is not as great as it says there. But I was still kind of wanted to try out like some fun Pokemon there, and so I'm totally okay with that. We're going to see here the Leaf Storm coming through. Luckily, this is going to allow us still to get to one Rock Wreck against the opponent's Primarina, because at this point we still didn't have Steel Wing on our save swap of the, it's called Kyurem here, I think. Yeah, we have Dragon Breath. And here I make a huge mistake. I sure went for the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw would have been the smart play as a step super effective move. I rather decided to go for the Glaciate, which doesn't make any sense at all. And this is going to cost us the battle here maybe, as otherwise, I would have easily been able to knock them out already at this point, and this was just completely silly by me. But luckily, the opponent doesn't have a charge move, and they decide to forfeit here. Palkia against us in the lead is going to be an interesting matchup. You're always going to be able to win this as a Rhyperior, which does not make any sense at all. But in the two-shield scenario, there's no way for the opponent to win this battle, which is ridiculous. Here we actually even get the debuff of the attack there from the opponent, which is kind of cool. We still have to use a shield against Spatial Rent, but I rather shield up Spatial or Draco Media here, which takes a lot of energy compared to, for example, the Awkward Tail, which barely takes any energy off them. So I'm still okay with this one, especially as you're going to get out that Fire-type Pokemon here of the Ho-Oh, allowing us to see what the opponent is going to do next. They decide to go ahead and go for the Sacred Fire, knocking us out sadly, but we can still go back into our Rhyperior. We can go for some fast moves. I can overfarm by quite a bit here as well, going for the Breaking Swipe as they overfarm as well. They are debuffed by one stage, so they're not going to be able to knock me out from this range at all. Like, there's no way that they can do this. And so we can let the move go through. They're debuffed now at 2 stages, but never mind. They're running Solar Beam, and this is going to completely change the matchup here for me. I did not expect to see Solar Beam on this Pokemon. but it is honestly not really gonna change too much of it. But like, it is definitely still a cool play there to have Solar Beam on Ho, or maybe it's something I'm gonna try out as well eventually. Like, you could use Solar Beam, Ho, or Say Stop, I guess, for a lot of teams. That could work out for sure. It's a bit of a tough one though. Like, the issue which I have with Solar Beam Ho is just that it takes too long to get to. What I mean with this, unless the opponent is like insanely slow at swapping out, if they go into their Rhyperior, which is like your main target with this move, you are not going to be able to get there in time because the opponent going to be able to go for the Rock Wrecker earlier on, and if you use a shield, the opponent very likely going to use a shield, so it's just a very awkward scenario here. But anyway, we're going to see here now, changed in the moveset, we're going to have the fast move of Poison Jab. I'm not going to change, by the way, the right side graphics, I don't really see the point of that. I changed quite frequently in between because I wasn't too sure which one was better. Like, honestly, I'm still not too sure afterwards if it's better to run Poison Jab, if it's better to run Magical Leaf. Both of them had a lot of play. Bullet Seed was also one idea that I had to use there, but Bullet Seed was a little bit of an awkward scenario because basically if you run Magical Leaf, you're gonna put them into range for one Sludge Bomb for like most Fairy type Pokemon, as well as for Magical Leaf you're going to be able to farm down something like Rhyperior, but for Poison Jab you're going to be able to farm down maybe Fairy type Pokemon, then end up with a ton of energy for Pokemon in the back, like for example, yeah, like some Rhyperiors or whatever, to go for Leaf Storm against. And so for me, there was never really like a clear winner in terms of what is the move set that you would prefer for it. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, I cannot really say it. Same goes for Kyurem. I don't know if Steel Wing is better or the Dragon Breath is better. Both of them had positive matchups and both of them had negative matchups. And so, yeah, anyway, here we're going to be able to fully farm on a Tapu Bulu. Next opponent, we're going to have the Landorus on the lead. Horrible lead matchup for us, but we can swap out straight away into our own Kyurem. Kyurem is going to hopefully be able to go for a Glaciate in order to knock out the opponent, but we have to see what the opponent is going to do here. They decided to go for the Sensitive Storm and swap out into the Tyranitar. Like, what is this team already? Being double weak to water immediately makes this a very weird team from the opponent. I don't think I would agree with the team building from them there, but yeah, maybe it's still gonna work out for them. I don't really know. We're gonna see the attack drop there. We're gonna see that we're gonna let the move go through. And basically we have no real chance of winning this battle here most likely, because how are we gonna get rid of the Landorus? Landorus is definitely a little bit of a core breaker for our team. But as we will see here, I'm gonna try my best to go for the bait. Let's see if we're going to be able to get the shield or something. We do get the shield, and I could try to catch even a move, but I don't. I decided to use a shield here very likely. I have to go for another bait here in order to have any chance of winning this battle. But actually I decided to go for the Rock Wrecker, seeing if I can knock them out. Let's see if I can knock them out. I cannot. They decided to use a shield. And can we still survive a move? We will never find out, because they're gonna swap out of here. They have an Yveltal in the back, and while we can go for the Sludge Bomb, we are not going to be able to win the battle. Funnily enough, I'm fairly certain Roserade learns also Dazzling Gleam, which most likely would have knocked out Yveltal from this range, but it is definitely not a move that you would usually want otherwise, so I don't really think it's going to be meta relevant at any point. So yeah, sadly here we're going to lose this battle. One more thing, like basically if you look at PV Poke, oh here by the way, the main reason by the way why I decided to use my Roserade, a lot of people start now using Venusaur to core break Rhyperior Fairy types, which does make some sense as well. And so I kind of want to take a look at my own approach with it with the Roserade here, which I had as a Shundo laying around anyway, which I wanted to build. But here we have also Steel Ring variant of Kyurem, which is kind of cool. But yeah, based on PV Poke, by the way, Wither Ball is recommended on the Roserade, and if you wonder why I didn't do this, I didn't really see the point of it. I feel like you need some coverage for grass typing in order to beat Pokemon like, of course, Rhyperior, and then you need kind of the poison type coverage for, of course, the fairy type Pokemon. So unless you run something like Magic Leaf, Sludge Bomb, Weather Ball, Fire variant of this Pokemon, I don't really see the point of it. And if you think about it, there are not really any kind of Pokemon, other than a Venusaur apparently now, that are weak to Fire type in the Master League. Like, there's next nothing. Like, there's no, like, clear Steel type Pokemon that you see all the time. Like, you have Dialga as the only real Steel type Pokemon. You have like Gholdengo, or sometimes Metagross. Yeah, Metagross and Gholdengo are also weak to Fire, but like, you barely really see them nowadays. And so I feel like it is a bit tricky to run Weather Ball Fire for this meta. I do think it's going to be a better one to go for the Master League Premier Cup, which is coming up as well eventually. So definitely stay tuned for that video when this gonna come out as well, because I'm very like I'm gonna take a look again at the Roserade. But maybe for that one I'm going to use an Elite Yam. I only have 2 Elite Yams anyway for the charge. moves there, so it's going to be something I don't really want to waste on something like this. Next opponent, we're going to have Yveltal in the lead. That's going to be a very nice matchup for us. A lot of people decide to use a shield here because they know that we outspeed them. We outspeed them literally just barely by 1 turn in order to get to our moves first. Honestly, I have to say Breaking Swipe was not kind to me. Like, the amount of times where Breaking Swipe did not get the debuff for me was just ridiculous. Here, at least we're going to be able to go for a Rock Wrecker. Rock Wrecker is going to be able to now do a ton of damage and knock them out. And in comes the Gholdengo. Gholdengo is going to be able to go for another Rock Wrecker. This is going to be enough to get a shield from them. And now it depends if we can still win the battle with our Kyurem. We're gonna decide to use a shield here against, of course, a potential Focus Blast, which is coming through as well. And honestly, one thing that I have to say, I feel like back in the day, you had way more nuke moves that were like relevant. I feel like back in the day, you saw like more Focus Blast heroes like Mewtwo and stuff like this around. I feel like everything kind of went down to like those very cheap charge moves, which is kind of sad, in my opinion, in terms of like how the meta kind of changed. But yeah, it is what it is. Here we're gonna see the Nihiligo. I'm gonna go for the Power Gem. I realized here, a little bit of a mistake that I did here. So I swapped back into the Rhyperior. We can fully farm them down, get the Breaking Swipe off, knock out that Gholdengo, and win the battle here as well, where Roserade basically didn't have to do anything. Xerneas in the lead. We want to actually stop out here because we have Steel Ring variant of the Kyurem doing some super effective damage against the opponent as they can use a shield. And see what we're going to Glaciate coming in. Let's see what it's going to be. It is going to be that Primarina with a Waterfall. That is kind of nice. We are going to overfarm by a little bit extra here because there was a bit of a lag coming up. As the Glaciate is coming through, we're going to be able to reach another one in time as well here, which is going to drop the attack even further. Disarming Voice we can easily survive at this range. Moonblast will most likely knock us out, but we try to swap out in time, which we cannot, barely, but it is fine. It is going to be the Moonblast, and we can go for the full farm down with the Roserade, allowing us to get a ton of energy, and this Hydro Cannon is barely going to do any damage as it's double debuffed as well as resisted here, so like yeah, there is not a lot that they can do about it. Rhyperior comes in. I'm forced to go kind of for a bait here and hope that I can still go for Leaf Storm later on, as the Sludge Bomb is going to connect here and get the shield, which is really important, as now Leaf Storm is easily going to be enough to knock out the opponent. Leaf Storm is a hard-hitting move, like a really hard-hitting move. It's an overheat clone as the grass typing, and as you're gonna see here, it is going to be enough to knock out the opponent. We can swap out into the Xerneas, and I think we're going to be fine here because the opponent is going to be forced to go for 2 close combats. 1 close combat is not going to be enough, but even the Rock Wrecker is going to be enough to knock out the opponent so we can win the battle. Zygarde against us is kind of mediocre, like I would say. We have Breaking Swipe, which has the potential to debuff. Spoiler alert, it will never debuff here at all, of course not. And so we're gonna swap out into the Kyurem. Sadly, we're not running Dragon Breath, we're running Steel Wing, and I decided to let the move go through. Trying to reach out for that Glaciate, which would do double super effective damage and knock out the opponent straight away. But they decided to go for another Crunch, which is fine. I can still get them low, I can still get a shield here, and they get the debuff as well with a Crunch, which of course, yeah, they have the 30% chance to get the debuff and they get it, and I don't get it with my 50% chance there, but it is what it is. Let's see what we can still do here. We're going to have the Roserade now against the Zacian. I could actually use the shield and fully farm them down afterwards, or I decided to go for, like, maybe actually just gonna go for a shield here. I think it's going to be the best play that I can go for because I have then a ton of energy. I have a Leaf Storm against whatever wants to come back in. Even the Zygarde will not like the Leaf Storm, as you're gonna see here. Most likely Zygarde is going to have to take this one. This is going to do around like 40% if it would connect, but they swap out now into the Xerneas and make a bit of a mistake. I should most likely wait until they go for their own charge move, but I decided to go for it a bit too earlier, most likely, as I was hoping maybe it would be a CMP tie or something, and here I could have went for that Breaking Swipe. If I went for the Breaking Swipe, I would have most likely won the battle here at this point, but I didn't, and so as the opponent can go for another charge move here sadly afterwards, we are going to lose this battle, and we are going to have only the Roserade left. We can still go for Leaf Storm. How much damage is it going to do against the Zygarde? It is stab, it is hard hitting, but it's not going to be enough to knock them out. Rhyperior mirror matchup in the lead. We're going to see them swapping out straight away into the floor, just allowing us to trap them with the Roserade. Roserade is going to have a great time here. We have the Moonblast coming in very, very early. I did not expect to be a Moonblast here. I thought it was like the Disarming Voice. But we can get rid of the opponent here quite easily with another Sludge Bomb, getting the knockout here. That's why a Sludge Bomb is kind of important. Also, here we're going to see again why Leaf Storm is so important. We're going to force the shield from the opponent here, or we're going to get the KO. let's find out. We're gonna get the shield from the opponent as we can swap onto our own Rhyperior. We can take a hit, but here again, that's kind of what happened the entire time for me with this team. Breaking Side from the opponent gets debuff. I'm not gonna lose the CMP type, which is fair because they have 14 attack. I just need a better Rhyperior to be fair. Breaking Swipe gets the next debuff. I go for my own Breaking Swipe. Let's see if that's gonna get the debuff. Of course not, and so we're gonna swap out here. And the opponent swaps out into a Togekiss, and we are in a very awkward spot here. But we have Steel Wing, and we have Glaciate, and we're gonna go up against a double Fairy type backline, and that is going to be fine because we do super effective damage, farming them down and doing super effective damage against Rhyperior here as well. And Kyurem actually is doing some great stuff as they use a shield. They are now debuffed, and we're gonna get them really, really low, so they forfeit the battle. And that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun, and I will see you later for another one. Bye bye.